Documentary The Unseen War, Kindoki and the Chosen Ones. The original pattern, Cain, Abel, and the birth of spiritual hatred. You are born. You are immediately handed a list of dreams: athlete, teacher, doctor, astronaut, pilot, police officer, soldier. Society declares that selecting and pursuing one of these paths is the very meaning of life, a personal journey of achievement. This is the first and greatest lie. It is the bait in a trap whose mechanics are entirely invisible. To understand the world you actually inhabit, you must reject the modern timeline and go back. Not to a history book written by the victors, but to a single stark moment at the dawn of humanity. To a field, to the first family, to the instant the true spiritual war was declared, a war that has never ceased and whose battlefield is every human soul. The story is presented as simple, almost primitive. Two brothers, Cain and Abel, bring an offering to God. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord, and Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering, but unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. Genesis 4:2-5. The text offers no detailed critique of Cain's fruit or vegetables. There is no mention of wilted lettuce or blighted wheat. The distinction is not agricultural, it is spiritual. It is a divine choice, a selection. One is regarded, the other is rejected. The human reaction to this spiritual selection is the critical data point. Cain's response is not one of humble inquiry or self-reflection. It is a foundational, consuming fury. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. Genesis 4:5. God himself intervenes, speaking directly to Cain, warning him of the spiritual danger at his door. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted, and if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Genesis 4:7. The warning is explicit. A force of sin is crouching, waiting to possess you. You must master it. But the warning is rejected. The spiritual hatred, which has no logical, earthly justification. Abel did not cheat him, insult him, or steal from him, consumes Cain entirely. This is not sibling rivalry. This is the hatred of the unchosen for the chosen. It is metaphysical. It is the core energy of the world's opposition to divine order. He lures his brother Abel into the field. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. Genesis 4:8. The first murder is not a crime of passion over a woman or land. It is a ritual killing motivated solely by spiritual jealousy. The unchosen line extinguishes the chosen line because its very existence is an unbearable reproach. This is the original pattern. This pattern is not an anomaly, it is the repeated central algorithm of the scriptural narrative, revealing the consistent nature of the struggle. Isaac and Ishmael. Abraham has two sons, Ishmael, born of human arrangement and effort through the servant Hagar, Isaac, born of divine promise through Sarah. The chosen line is explicitly narrowed to Isaac. In Isaac shall thy seed be called. Genesis 21:12. Ishmael, though blessed, is set aside, and a prophecy of perpetual conflict is declared over him. And he will be a wild man, his hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. Genesis 16:12. The enmity is eternal, born of spiritual displacement. Jacob and Esau, twin brothers, struggling even in the womb. Before any action of their own, the divine choice is proclaimed. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Genesis 25:23. Esau, the firstborn by right of birth, is rejected in favor of Jacob. The betrayal over the birthright and blessing spawns a hatred so potent Esau plans fratricide. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. Genesis 27:41. The chosen one must flee for his life. Joseph and his brothers. The pattern intensifies within a single family. Jacob shows open favor to Joseph, the son of his old age. Joseph then has dreams of his own future supremacy, dreams given by God. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose and also stood upright, and behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheaf. And his brethren said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. Genesis 37:6-8. Their hatred is not for his coat, but for his dream, for the divine mark upon him. It is spiritual hatred. They conspire to kill him, finally settling on selling him into slavery, attempting to destroy the chosen one in their midst and profit from his removal. And they took him and cast him into a pit. And they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. Genesis 37:24-28. The message of these stories is not a moral fable about jealousy, it is the revelation of a cosmic law. From the foundation, a line of election runs through history. There is a chosen line and an unchosen line. This distinction is not primarily about individual moral character in a social sense. It is a fixed spiritual reality. The unchosen are not necessarily worse people by human standards. They are operating on a different spiritual frequency, one fundamentally opposed to the chosen line's destiny. The driving energy of the unchosen line is this profound, often unconscious metaphysical hatred for the chosen. Their purpose is not to build a parallel equal civilization, it is to persecute, corrupt, assimilate, enslave, or ultimately destroy the chosen line. They are the feeders, the chosen are the food. The light of the chosen is an existential torment to them, provoking a need to either extinguish it or more subtly to harness and distort it for their own power. This is not ancient theology. This is the active, unseen operating system of your reality. You were not born into a neutral world of equal opportunity. You were born into a global civilization, its empires, its education systems, its religions, its entertainment, its definitions of success and normalcy that has been built, ruled, and meticulously defined by the spiritual and physical descendants of the unchosen line. Their history is the one you learned in school, the empires of Rome, the conquests of Alexander, the caliphates, the colonial empires of Europe, all celebrated as greatness, yet all built on rape, pillage, slavery, and the systematic destruction of older civilizations. Their heroes, Caesar, Napoleon, colonial explorers, were, by the biblical standard, predators and often pedophiles wielding state power. Their gods are the gods of the nations, which the scriptures call demons. Their ultimate victory is to convince the chosen line to forget its identity, to worship their gods, and to join their system. The dream they sell you, the doctor, the pilot, the star, is the mechanism of this assimilation. It is a cage labeled purpose. Before you can achieve anything in their system, you must accept its terms, its frequencies, and in doing so, you sever your connection to the original covenant. You become fuel for their kingdom. Therefore, the primary question of your existence is not what will you be, but whose line do you belong to? The war you cannot see began in that field with Cain and Abel. The murder weapon was not just a stone or a club, it was the spirit of Kindoki, the invisible witchcraft of spiritual hatred and predation. That war has never stopped. You are not preparing for life, you are already on the battlefield. The sorcerer's will, the inheritance of the curse, the original pattern did not remain confined to family grudges. The spiritual hatred of the unchosen line that first Kindoki metastasized. It became systemic. It became an inheritance. The field where Cain killed Abel expanded to cover nations. The curse became a will read and executed in every generation. Beloved, when a father feels that his death is approaching, he starts to make his will, he starts to divide up his properties among his children. But as long as this father is alive, his will has no value. But if he dies, the will takes effect. When one looks carefully among the people who blocked your family, there are even sorcerers who are already dead. When they uttered incantations against your family, it was a will that they were making. And as we speak now, they are already dead. That is how today we see families in which there are things that last because there is a testament that sorcerers had already imposed on them. This is the reality. The foundational curses, the spoken words of hatred, the rituals of blockage performed by the spiritually dead, the pharaohs, the Caesars, the colonial architects, the witch doctors of old, these were not mere events. They were testaments, and upon their deaths, these testaments became active, binding legal documents in the spirit realm, governing the lives of entire bloodlines and nations. This is why history feels like a wheel of inescapable suffering. This is why families are plagued by the same failures, the same addictions, the same poverty, the same premature deaths. It is not coincidence. It is the execution of a will. A sorcerer in your ancestral line or a sorcerer king over your land made a pact, spoke a word, sacrificed a life to block your destiny. He died. His will went into probate in the courts of darkness, and you, the heir, inherited the terms: you shall not prosper, you shall not finish your studies, you shall serve others and never reap the reward. The scripture details this national scale curse, this testament made against the chosen line when they forsook the covenant. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations whither the Lord shall lead thee. Deuteronomy 28:64-67-37. This is the country covering curse. It is the testament enacted. It describes the African diaspora with terrifying precision, scattered, restless, plagued by anxiety, a byword among nations. It is not a racial fate. It is the spiritual consequence of a broken covenant, exploited and enforced by the unchosen line who became the instruments of this curse. The unchosen nations, empowered by their own pacts, became the executors of this will. They are the wolves and jackals to whom the chosen were thrown. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Job 9:24. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses the servant of God, because we have sinned against him. And he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us, and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven hath not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem. Daniel 9:11-12. But the unchosen nations are not innocent jailers. They are active sorcerers themselves. They did not stumble upon power, they contracted for it. They built their kingdoms on the same spiritual principle as Cain, a pact with the spirit of murder, theft, and domination. This is why their history is a litany of brutality. They did not go to other lands to trade, they went to consume. What kind of humans invent weapons, tanks, plans to bomb and destroy, going to other nations, setting them against each other, burning villages, poisoning food and water, kidnapping, killing prophets and revolutionists, enslaving nations if they are not satanic? And these people are never judged. Their civilization is the physical manifestation of their collective testament. Their progress is built on stolen labor and stolen ideas. Everything, most things created or done by black forefathers was copied from east to west and whitewashed. Medicine, technology, food, music, movies. Their system is a closed spiritual circuit. To enter it, to achieve within it, you must sign a codicil to their testament. You must sell a piece of your soul. A person can't be seen on telefilm, television, become a star, a politician, a rock star, a CEO without selling his soul. They want you to choose a low frequency here on earth so you can bring more souls. You must sell your soul or suffer. This is the meaning of the dreams sold to you. The astronaut, the pilot, the doctor, within their system, these roles are not neutral. They are endpoints in a satanic supply chain. The doctor must promote pharmaceuticals over true healing. The pilot serves a globalist network. The politician enforces the will. To rise, you must kneel at an altar. The choice they offer is this: become one of them, a feeder, or die, become food. This is the invisible structure of the world. It is not a world of equal individuals competing. It is a giant inherited estate governed by ancient malevolent wills. The pyramids were not tombs, they are a metaphor. The pyramids that we see in Egypt were not built by the Egyptians, but by the children of Israel. They were working not for their own interests, but for those of the Egyptians. And that is what happens today in the life of many children of God. The children of God work, they make a great deal of effort, but do not benefit from what they do. Sorcerers are the ones who are robbing them of the fruits of their labors. Who is sitting on you? Who is sitting on your life? Who is the executor of the testament that binds your family, your people, all that you have? The work you do and what you get from it are only the crumbs of what you should normally have, because there are sorcerers who control your life without you knowing it. But there is another will, a counter testament, a divine will written in blood that cancels all others. But our God has also made a will for us. He says in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." This will was activated not by the death of a sorcerer, but by the death of the heir himself, blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to his cross. Colossians 2:14. The cross was not just a sacrifice for sin, it was a cosmic legal proceeding. The testaments, curses, and pacts that stood against you, the sorcerer's will from your family, the national curse, the global system's contract, were produced as evidence. They were nailed to that cross and canceled. The will of God of peace, prosperity, and purpose is now the only legally binding document for those who claim it. This is the pivotal truth of the war. The battlefield is not just physical persecution. It is the courtroom of the spirit. The enemy's primary strategy is to keep you living under the terms of an obsolete will, to make you believe the curses are still in effect, to trick you into signing new pacts through despair, ambition, or ignorance. They want you to accept the crumbs and think it's a feast. They want you to build pyramids for them and wonder why you have no tomb of your own. They want you to read the testament of your curse and never hear of the testament of your redemption. The war is for your inheritance. Will you live under the sorcerer's will or under the will of your father? The choice is made in the invisible realm long before it manifests in your career, your family, or your dreams. The Kingdom of Night, Anatomy of the Invisible. The war is not fought in daylight with tanks and treaties. The real battles are waged in the kingdom of night. While your body sleeps, your spirit is active in a realm where the rules of physics do not apply, where pacts are enforced, destinies are traded, and the wills of sorcerers are executed nightly. This is the domain of Kindoki in its raw, operational form. The entry point is a choice, conscious or not, to align with the frequency of the feeders. It begins with a pact. Witchcraft can be contracted in three ways. First, through a pact or contract that you sign yourself. For example, you have a problem which is beyond you. Instead of trusting in God, you go to consult a soothsayer or a witch doctor who gives you a fetish. This fetish that you take gets you involved in unconscious witchcraft, and as time goes on, you will become a conscious sorcerer. But it can also be inherited. Secondly, through family inheritance, it is you who will be in charge of the family. Take this, from now on, you will become the head of the family. Watch out very carefully, because one will get you involved in witchcraft. Or most insidiously, it can be ingested. Thirdly, witchcraft by influence through food. You should not eat anything. If you do not know the spiritual state of your neighbors, never let your children eat there. It is good when you hear about witchcraft from afar, because if it comes in your house, there will be an absolute disaster. Once the link is established, the person, often unknowingly, becomes a participant in the nocturnal economy. Their spirit is loosened from the body. After choosing to be a witch, the body goes to sleep for 3, 5, 7 days. The spirit, detached from the body, goes wandering into forests, rivers, to fires, to campsites, shooting festivals, parties, moonlit nights, among wolves. It is like the forbidden key. The soul is robbed and one gets a watcher, a demon inside the body, several. Through astral travel, through sexual contact in that realm, one enters the demon world. This is the night flight. The scriptures describe the reality of this spirit world and its rulers. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Ephesians 6:12. Having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God through the ignorance that is in them because of the blindness of their heart, who being past feeling have given themselves over unto lasciviousness, to work all uncleanness with greediness. Ephesians 4:18-19. This blindness of heart is the spiritual veil that allows the unconscious witch to operate. In this realm there are gathering places, rivers and trees not of this world. When we took our sorcerer's planes to go to the sorcerer's world, I saw rivers and trees there, and in the trees there were holes. Everyone came there with the problems of his family, opening her loincloth and taking away a paper that she throws in one of the rivers there. After that, she utters a word. The children of so and so will never complete their study. These are the spiritual courts where curses are filed and judgments passed. The papers represent lives, destinies, and blessings. The words spoken are binding decrees in that realm. This is the administrative hub of the sorcerer's will. And when they throw the paper, they utter a word. So you see families in which people abandon their studies for no obvious reason, whereas they have the opportunity to continue their studies simply because it has already been decided by witchcraft. This network is vast and categorized. Lucifer, the steward of this dark kingdom, has classified humanity according to their dominant sin, assigning them a color and a magic. First category, there are humans who are driven by hatred and jealousy, people who are willing to kill their fellows without gaining anything. To that group, Lucifer gave the color black, black magic witchcraft. Second category, there are human beings who like to prove or demonstrate everything, who try to get to the bottom of all things. To that group, Lucifer attributed the color white. White magic, Rosicrucianism, Freemasonry, Gnosticism, Christian Science. Third category, there are humans who love wealth, elevation, domination, and power. They are willing to kill for these things. To that group, Lucifer gave the color red. Red magic, power rituals, wealth pacts, political and financial sorcery. All religions of the nations, all systems of control fall into these categories. They are not alternatives to witchcraft, they are its organized, institutionalized forms. Their religion is described in the Bible. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord made the heavens. Psalm 96:5. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold, they fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. Jeremiah 10:2-4. This is a direct description of ritual fetishism, the foundation of all idolatry. The practitioners of this kingdom are everywhere, many unconscious of their role. Signs of a child being used include severe distraction, memory lapses, unexplained rebellion, and a lack of intelligence, not as a natural condition, but as a spiritual hijacking. The child is very distracted, he has lapses of memory, the child forgets easily. You ask a child to bring you a cup, but instead of a cup, he brings you a knife. The child's lack of intelligence, he is always fighting, he is rebellious. Animals are used as conduits. The cat is an animal that is highly used by sorcerers. The cat can come where you are eating, and while it scratches itself, its hairs fall. As soon as they fall in your food while you are eating, witchcraft starts. The ultimate goal of this kingdom is to block, steal, and harvest, to turn every human into either a conscious feeder, an unconscious slave, or drained sustenance. They target the chosen ones with particular ferocity because their light is both a threat and a coveted source of energy. If you see that you are hated in school, that people simply do not like you, whether among blacks or others, if you see that you are blocked everywhere, used, that sexual crimes are attempted against you, fights, that you cannot get a partner though you look good, then you know you have a different status. You are a target. Satan wants you to lose your soul, your mind, to kill yourself, or to become one of them. But there is a defense, there is a protection so potent it appears in the night realm as an impenetrable wall of fire. There were other houses that we saw from afar. They were surrounded by flames of fire and we could not even go near them. These were the houses of true believers. This fire is the spiritual manifestation of divine protection and covenant obedience. It is described in the will of God. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them, and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. Obadiah 1:18. The fire comes from adherence to the law and the Spirit of God. It is fueled by prayer, purity, and the rejection of all idols, including the idols of the modern world, the pictures, the fetishes, the worldly systems that demand allegiance. What allowed us to go down into those houses that we saw without roofs? Firstly, spider webs. Spiritually, they are antennas. Secondly, photos, pictures, idols. This is idolatry, and God condemns idolatry. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. Exodus 24. Thirdly, all the houses where there is someone who has already dealt with fetishes. Fourthly, when you're in a house, you should never go to sleep if you have conflicts. The kingdom of night is real, operational, and its citizens walk among you by day as neighbors, co-workers, family members, and leaders. Their meetings are in boardrooms, clubs, rocker clubs, social fraternities, and festivals as much as in forests. Their pacts are signed in blood, in sex, in ambition, and in despair. This is the true landscape of the world. The daylight reality is merely the harvest of what was planted, traded, and stolen in the night. To be ignorant of this is to be a peasant tilling soil on a battlefield, wondering why the crops are always destroyed. The war is spiritual, the weapons are spiritual, and your first duty is to see the kingdom of night for what it is and to choose under which king you will serve. The evidence has been laid before you. The pattern from Cain's field to the boardrooms and bedrooms of today is unmistakable. You are not living in a simple world of chance and choice. You are a citizen of a spiritual kingdom, whether you acknowledge it or not. You stand at the crossroads of two wills. The sorcerer's will, an ancient testament of hatred, blockage, and theft that promises the world but delivers only crumbs and bondage. The Father's will, a counter testament of peace, purpose, and power, activated by a sacrifice of love and sealed for your inheritance. The kingdom of night operates because we believe its lies. It feeds because we accept its food. Its war continues because we sleep through the battles. But tonight you have been awakened. The question is no longer what is happening, but what will you do about it? Will you continue to build pyramids for another's glory, or will you claim the land of your own destiny? This is not theology, this is your life. The war is real, the choice is yours. If this truth has resonated with you, if it has connected the dots of your own life, you cannot keep it to yourself. Share this documentary, send it to your family, your friends, to everyone who feels the unexplained blockages, the repeated cycles, the spiritual hunger. Break the silence. Subscribe and turn on notifications. You do not want to miss what is coming next. We are going deeper. This is not about me. This is about us, about our collective awakening and deliverance. Stay with me on this journey. I am Mikhael Massa. I love you. Now go and tell the others.